Day one of the actual PGA program. I did demo day yesterday, doing inside today, and man, oh man, was it a busy day. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Welcome to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, and this is where we talk about golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings. All serious scores can go low. However, this is what we'll call a special week where we're talking about the 2025 PGA Merchandise Show here in Orlando. Well, everybody else is getting snow. We are getting rain, and it's 40 to 50 degrees. So I get where you're going. Don't want to be there, and that's where we're at. I had a friend send a small video of Destin, Florida, and initially it looked like a bunch of snow drifts, and really what it was, a good covering of the sand, and it was still pretty good. If I was going to Destin and I was actually prepared to be at the beach, I am sure that would not be one of those days I would want to do. Tomorrow and the next day are at least supposed to be dry, unlike the last 2 days, of which have been, literally miserable. But at least we're starting to get better. So just real quick. So in years past, a lot of the discussion, well, let's see if this works in. Look at that. A lot of the discussion has been the attendance of the show. And in years past, we've seen a steady decline in the people that have showed up at the PGA Show. And it's a variety of different things, right? It could be the economy. It could be, at one point it was COVID. And another one was that the OEMs, the major equipment manufacturers, had already started releasing, and their representation has made a lot of their stops prior to what would have been the PGA Show, which is where a lot of these new releases used to be. Okay. And so it was all there. Well, today, I got to tell you, was a little bit better. All right. I don't know what the numbers are. We'll probably find out tomorrow. But I thought personally that there was a lot more people there than have been in years past. A lot of the guys I was talking to in a lot of the booths that have been there in years past said the same thing. Thought it was very, very busy. It was very, very nice. Now, why? Well, it could have been the weather, right? There's snow everywhere in the United States except for here in Texas, right? So maybe even Arizona. But everybody north of this line, there's a lot of snow. And a lot of these guys are itching to go to a place that's warm. Now, 40 to 50 degrees, not necessarily all that warm, particularly in a high humid spot. However, it's got to be better than 4 to 6 inches of snow. So anyway, so I think the show had some pretty good attendance. Okay. That's really where we're at. And now, did we see anything that was jump out at me kind of stuff? No. But what I am getting excited about was last year, I don't think there was a whole lot of jazzed up excitement about irons, where this year I think we probably ought to be excited about stuff. So let's get started. And these are the pictures I'm showing you are by far not everything I took. I bet I took several hundred pictures, lots of video and things that are going to be we're going to address when we get back home. But just to kind of give you an overview. So number one, as you guys can imagine, was Callaway. We stopped at Callaway. Callaway now has the Elite. I think that's kind of funny how that looks black and white, and then there's green in the back. The Elite's going to come in 4 different models. There's going to be their standard. There's going to be a max. There's going to be a what I would call the draw bias, and then the triple diamond. Now, in years past, you used to have the slider. You do not have the slider anymore. You have these weights that you get to move around in order to help you out. Now, what have they done? what makes this one so much better, that's so awesome, that, and everybody, and I really hate it when they do these things, but the 4 yards longer, that's going to be the best thing ever. Well, these guys come out and say it's 8 yards longer. Why? Well, I'd love to show you. That's not going to do it. In these drivers, on the crown is a new forged composite, and this composite wraps around, and it attaches in a different fashion than it has in the past, because again, it's the lighter crown, move weight around, but in this particular instance, there's a greater aerodynamic aspect to it. And because it's more aerodynamic, you end up creating this extra club head speed. This extra club head speed turns into more distance. Now, typically, in the past, aerodynamics or more club head speed were all related to losing weight of some variety. That is not the case here. So you still have the AI face that they've been constantly manipulating, and so it looks to be a good plus, right? A pretty good plus. Let's see what we got here. There's some more of the same. And if you look in the back, in the picture that's in the back here, you get to see the crown where they take it apart. There should be another picture here in a little bit. All right. Secondarily is the irons. This is not a very good picture of the irons, but you get an idea of what the shape and the look is going to be. Now, these are by far and away in the last, these are going to be some ball go far kind of irons, but, like the Smoke, which I like the Paradigm, I thought were really nice, a little off tradition, but still they worked pretty good. This one has a traditional look that gives you that almost hollow body iron where it has this very players-like look, but it's going to be very forgiving underneath the hood. There's a lot of movement, strengthening the top line, putting these badges in the back. It's really kind of neat what they've gone to. The folks are starting to think outside the box in order to give us a better product. And in this particular instance, the better product doesn't translate into something super costly. Okay. What I did get was I did get some advice that there is going to be, speaking of super costly, there is going to be a titanium 3-wood. All right, and this titanium 3-wood is going to be a rocket launcher, if you like fairway woods, but it's pricey. Okay, it's going to be a very, very good one. We hope to be able to test it going forward, but these guys are really excited about it because basically, not their words, my words, it's a driver in a 3-wood clothing. So it's supposed to be very, very, very good. However, it's being in titanium and all the things that fairway woods typically are not, it's going to have a higher price tag. I have no idea what the price tag is. I just know it's more. All righty, so we got these guys, and then you get to see more of the same. You get to see the different ones. So the ones that you see in the picture here, these are the draw bias ones where you only see the 2 places for that weight to go. In the stock model, or what they call their flagship model, there'll be 3 places. And in the triple diamond, it will be something else. I took this picture with the intent of showing you all the different looks of all the elite styles, and all of a sudden this picture shows up and it overshadowed everything, and so you got a really cool picture of a graphic in the background. All righty, so the guy I got to talk to at Callaway, Michael Verska. I've known this gentleman for, good God, for a long, long time. He has a super background in the industry, real good with fitting. He knows the tools of the trade, good guy, and he knows how to simplify things down, and he plays to a low handicap. So all those good things in a row. So I got a little bit out of his time. So again, thank you to Michael Verska. I appreciate his time. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you in the back, you see how this thing is taken apart? You have Off to his right, you see the face, and it's using a cup face technology, and you see what the face looks like underneath. Again, that's AI driven. The greeny stuff is the use of the urethane microspheres. And then what you also have that's behind him over his right shoulder is what I'm calling it the skeletal structure. You might call it the framework, whatever it is. That is the supporting attribute to the iron. And then you have the badge, and the badge actually in this particular instance performs a supporting function versus just being decorative. So some pretty neat stuff. I know that we've got some stuff. It's waiting at the shop. It showed up a day after we left. And so we're going to be busy when we get back. I just wanted to throw this out there. They just had these are giant boxes. They're 8 foot long and 4 foot tall and just displays. But to show you that they have the Chrome Tour, the Chrome Tour X, and then the Chrome Tour Triple Diamond. And the Chrome Tour Triple Diamond is a low spinning golf ball. I don't know if it finishes harsh. I've not had to hit one yet. I do know the Chrome Tour is very, very nice. It feels good, and it's supposed to take place of what would have been the LS model last year. So I don't know what to expect. But if you're in need, if you're a high spin player and you need a lower spinning golf ball, that would be something to consider. Okay. Onward and upward. So the next thing we went to is Cobra, right? Cobra. So this is a poster that they had above some of their golf clubs, and they're boasting a 32 setting. You see all these things. 32 setting adapter. I didn't take one apart to see what it was all about. They just say that it's got a 32 setting adapter. That's a lot of settings in a little bitty adapter. I don't know if it's a 2-piece. I don't know if it's a 1-piece. I don't know the whole story behind it, but they're pretty proud of it. Now, getting to talk to somebody there other than the jackwagon that was at the desk, so I didn't get a whole lot of information as far as like somebody I would get from a rep. I just got like somebody passing by, like he thought I was going to try and buy, like I was going to try and buy one from him right then and there, even though I explained to him what I did. And needless to say, now I understand why the representative for that state hasn't come to find me. But nevertheless, to give you guys a shot at it, they got this DS Adapt. This is the Max D. I got to say, I got to give them props. The look of these clubs are very, very nice. They've got a nice stable. Max Holman is a popular guy. You know, Lexi Thompson, heck of a player, although she's retired now. They got a lot of nice. They should have this set up. So if these clubs don't perform, it's their fault. But so we got this is a good looking club, right? Draw bias driver. Then you got this is what would be their flagship model. Where you see the weight in the back. Let's see if I got another one. There's the D model again. And then there's a Max K. This one, I believe, is their lightweight model. When you see stuff where it's got any one of these model namings, Max with a letter, Max with something additional, 9 times out of 10, what that means is that it is their forgiving driver, but it's very, very, very light. For those folks that we'll literally put them in that senior category in order to get the ball out there, very much in competition with the ZXI stuff at a much lower price tag. Oh, and the other thing is that we'll go back to the Callaway, the zero torque or the square-to-square putters. I asked Mr. Verska how it was going, and the square-to-square putters have been taking off like gangbusters. They really love the Jailbird and the Fang. I like the Fang. I'm not a Jailbird fan, and I'm just taken back by the striping. Pardon me, taken back by the striping, but I like what it does. And it's also going to be somewhere between $200 and $400 cheaper than a Lab. But is it exactly the same? No. But it's very, very close. So it's something to consider going forward. All right, another place is we stopped by the Makefield, and right next to Makefield was Garson. All right, Bernie Garson is a good guy. Has come up on and I've talked about Garson grips before. They got the teardrop where it starts off at a point basically like that, comes down and comes around to a curve. So when you hold it, your thumbs go like that when you're putting, right? So that you have them on each side. What that does is that forces your elbows in, and then you're putting more. You're putting more with your shoulders and less with your arms or your elbows. Good idea. A lot of times it becomes uncomfortable, but once you sink a few putts, it becomes trendy. However, on the tour, particularly LPGA Tour, that grip is very popular. That's called the Quattro. And the Quattro is basically like an upside down rhombus, meaning it's long at the top, comes in, and then small on the side. With the idea, it does the same thing. So what did he do here? What makes that so special? That is a long grip, 15 to 17 inches. Why? Because Lydia Ko likes it that way. All right, made that literally. Lydia Ko had this huge input into it because apparently she moves her hands up and down this grip based on the type of putts that she has. All right, goes against all the things I've ever done about putting, but she's won millions of dollars and I haven't, so who's going to argue, right? He also had he had a couple other grips but what I found that I liked about him was this texture. Now, this one's pretty standard like the other one, but he's got a couple other ones. I saw another one that really caught my attention. If you guys remember, the Ultimate is very much a rounded grip under the bottom, and then it had some sides and then a flat, and it's just a standard putter. Now he's got a really long version of this one, and it's not as heavy. It's not one of those big, heavy, like tank putter grips. It's 95 grams, but the other ones were severely heavier, surpassing 100 grams easy. I like that one. I like that one. It sat in the hands pretty easy. Okay, it sat in the hands pretty easy, and I think that's going to be a very good grip. And you can have a longer club and put it down there, and you can figure out where it is that you want to be and work it. So you didn't necessarily have to be at the end of the grip. If you were claw gripping or if you were doing whatever it is you wanted to do, you could do that. Okay, so watch out for them. I also went and did Makefield, and of course, for some reason, none of my Makefield pictures made it onto here. Let me see if I can go get you one real quick. Let's see, Makefield. There's one, and this one. All right, while we're talking about it, we'll download those. All right, anyway, we'll go back to Makefield.
Did you get my pictures?
I did. So skipping over Makefield, we'll come back to them. Visited Srixon and talked with a gentleman named Casey. He's a product manager. Super nice cat, very informative, very energetic. Just to kind of show you what they did is there's a 4. Now I got to say, not much has changed as far as 4, 5, and 7. All right, they haven't jumped the shark and said we're abandoning everything. They're still tweaking, and where there was all kinds of room to tweak was in the 4. The very first one that came out was an absolute horrible looking design. Did it work? Yes. Was it? It was the most ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was the cavity was just filled in and it was bad. There was a lot of pock marks and whatnot. Now you got that. That is a massively clean club. All right. What they've also done is they've narrowed the sole slightly. That was another thing that was off-putting to me because I don't like that, is that they had a very, very wide sole. This one is still wide. Okay. It's still wide. However, it's not as wide. Okay. So again, a little more offset than the other models and a little stronger than the other models. But because it has all that sole in the bottom, the ball still flies in the air. Still very, very nice. Then we go to the other end. There's the 7, and as you can see, the back end has changed just a little bit. And what this is so the Model 7 is a little bit different than the 5 and the 4. The Model 7 is more what you can consider a one-piece forging. Pardon me, a one-piece forging, very, very soft. They did some movement of some stuff around in order to increase that feel. They did some pretty nice work. In the 5, it's more like the 4. It's a little bit stronger with a little bit more offset, and it appears that I think that it got wider. They say no, but the sole on the bottom of the 5, I guess it depends on what light you're in. It's a little bit narrower, so good on them. So good, more soft. The idea of feel softer, tweaking to keep things a little bit better and moving forward. Another thing is in the hybrids, which a lot of them didn't see last year. This year, the hybrids will be adjustable. Okay, the hybrids will be adjustable. That's a plus, right? So now you can, because the hybrids from Srixon last year were very upright, and they were very and they were bonded, and although very consistent, they didn't go very far. So this allows them to make some changes to get in the better part of the club and maybe turn into something very good. All right, so now here we go. The drivers are no longer a 5, a 7, and whatever the D is. They're ZXIs, right? They're ZXIs with different I guess a different call sign on them. Let's see. So this is just the ZXI standard. Now what you see here is you see this big base plate on the bottom, and that's basically giving you an idea where a lot of this weighting, what you would think a lot of the weight is, until you see the weight pieces. This is ZX5-esque, we'll say, and what you'll have is a lighter weight here and a heavier weight here. I believe it was like a 2 and a 10. However, what they have is they'll have weight additions or weight changes you can make, and it goes from 2 to 12 in 2 gram increments. So if you didn't like the swing weight, you wanted it to be heavier, you could go 4 and 12 and have same kind of change in the weight, but just making it heavier. And if you wanted to change around, you can change the weights around. If you're overcooking it, you could change these 2 weights around, put the bottom and the top, and the top and the bottom. All right, this one is the LS model, and as one can tell, the LS model is you went from the weights north and south on the golf club to east and west, and the heavier the model that you have in the front, the more spin it will kill. Okay, more spin it will kill. Now I asked the question is, typically what we're seeing as a trend is the stock model, the draw model, the fast model are all 460, big tall stuff, and then the LS model is a 440, so they can smash it forward, make the face a little bit bigger, and then put that weight behind it, so it's a little bit high center of gravity, and all of a sudden the spin comes down. This is not that case. They are all the same size. All right, just moving stuff around. The last one here is the Max. You can see there's no weight in this one, and what's going on in there, some internal weighting, so that's a little bit draw bias, and get the ball out there. Now, I asked about rebound frame. It's still in there, but what this time around is they've got a new face, and he said the face, and it's this clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. It was numbers and letters and a special face in order to get more ball speed like everybody wants. But it's a nice looking driver. Okay, last year it was also a nice looking driver, but it was boring. This year it looks to be very good, and I've had some guys that have told me they've hit it, and it very well may find you. They're saying it's finding its way into the bag, so not too bad. All right, last bit from the Srixon camp, and it's not Srixon, it's a Cleveland. They're wedges. Now the wedge is pretty cool in this one is that they're using a different metal, and again, it's a number series of letters and numbers, and we'll get a little bit more specific when we do a review. But what it is, it's a slightly lighter material than, say, a 1025 carbon, which allows them to move some stuff around. And but when they're going to offer a raw model, they're going to offer their satin finish model, and then a black model. Apparently, this metal doesn't rust. So all those guys that want the raw but didn't like the rust, there you go, right? And he did say something that was kind of cool in that that every time you saw a piece of rust flaking off of these rusty irons and whatnot, he called it an engineer's tear. That was pretty cool.
Sounds like your bourbon.
Yes, it does. Sounds like my bourbon. All right, so what we see here, and then what I wanted to show you, and I didn't bring, but when we get into it, is they have a high, a mid, and a low bounce / grind. And what this is here is just an example of what would be the high model. And the high model was basically your traditional high radius, nothing special on the grind, heel to toe relief, just straight up and curved, and a high bounce model. I think that has a lot of uses. All right, it's not just in the raw, but that's just happened what it was in. So I've always been using mid, because where I'm at in the mountains, you can have something like this one where it's a little bit more heel and toe relieved, and slightly thinner. And with all the undulation we have here playing in the mountain, that tended to work. However, I don't think, I'm not sold on that would work as well. And the last one is the low, and the low is, in that one you can't even tell. So what it is in the low is more like a 8-degree bouncer, but it has more heel and toe removed, but the bottom is still there. So we got it. When you go to look at these new RTZs, you really want to be cognizant of how you wedge your wedge, and getting that right grind along with the right bounce. All right. I know. Everybody's been screaming how we need high bounce models, and truly we do. However, those low bounces are depending on if you're playing in hard pan, right? If you're a sweeper and you never took a divot with a wedge in your entire life, that might be the way that you want to go. There are always those players out there. Although I think the lion's share of the people will be somewhere between the high bounce model and the mid bounce model. Pardon me. Yeah, they didn't have them with them, but what they're coming out with is a full face wedge as well, which I'm kind of excited about those, because I just like full face wedges. These live streams wouldn't be complete if I wasn't blowing my nose. I think I'm just going to do it in every one of them. All righty. So what else we got? Nope, that was a Cobra. That was their driving iron. That was the other thing. Cleveland had a driving iron. Looks very, very nice. I know. I said Cleveland. I know. Srixon has a driving iron. I think it's going to be pretty nice going forward as well. All right. Let's see what else. As you can tell, we visited Ping. We went totally out of our comfort zone. Went to try and talk to Cobra. Unfortunately, they were about as helpful as a wet blanket, and we went through it. Unfortunately, but we went to Ping. Scarily enough, and Ping is, when we have visited the Ping booth, we've gotten even worse treatment than at the Cobra booth, because you just see a guy like me showing up and they think, oh, that's some farmer guy trying to go and get something. No. Well, as soon as I found some guy, turns out he's from Nebraska. So we hit it off immediately, since that's where we started going Go Big Red. Next thing you know, we're just talking all kinds of stuff. Anyway, it was a great visit. All right. This is like a highlight of the visit so far. You know, I like Mike Verska. He's a great guy. But as something new, as a discovery, for me, this is new. And this was a great visit from this guy. And we went through all kinds of stuff. We chattered up golf clubs and technologies. It was just crazy good. So here we go. Just as a recap. So here we go. That's the 500. That's the hollow body. It's the blade. That one's been released out. I don't think this is something new to anybody. I believe that's a 580, I think, or I-580 is what we're looking at. They weren't real hyped up about their iron stuff. They were telling me about it, but they weren't real hyped out about it. It's more about the woods this time around. However, I did stumble across something that looks like that. Tell me, what do you think that looks like? What's that say? Ping bunker. What's that look like? I know there's enough older folk on here. That looks like a Ping I2. I guarantee you it's that same shape. And look at it, but it's got a big... they just took the sand wedge out of the Ping I2, which people absolutely loved, and made a new one. Look at that. That thing is freaking outstanding.
Charlie gets the prize.
What's that?
Charlie Bartholomew. Looks like the old Ping I2.
Yeah, the thing looks outstanding, right? So I was like, yeah, I want one of those. And but those things were great. So back into we're going to try and go through some of it here. The Ping, I'm not put all of them. There's the Ping Max. Of course, there's the SFT. SFT stands for Straight Flight Technology, which means this is the draw bias model. And then they'll have that's the Max, that's the most forgiving model. Plus they'll have the LFT or LST for low spin technology. Now what they did in these guys is that they actually made the face maybe just a hair smaller by millimeters. Again, they're dealing with some crown technology. And they still got the turbulators on the top. What had happened was one of their models was different than the others in the previous model generation or even the one before. And they saw that the one that was different was doing very, very well. So they took that technology and they placed it into all the other ones. So they're now all the same. Very cool, right? Very cool. And that technology went into the fairway woods. So now we have a technology that was a proven worker or a proven positive addition to the Ping line, and they've put it through all the stuff. That is very cool. Very cool. And we got to talk about what the difference in where the heads, there's a lot going on inside these heads that they had a display, but we just weren't able to get to it. And then they also have, now this one, they also have hybrids that were adjustable in order to go maybe a little bit flatter or maybe even a little bit more upright. That they have what they called an 8-lobed cog or an 8-lobed adapter. And if you remember on Pings, they have those little bumps that went all the way around. And they said that it's a little different, but if you guys had the year prior's model, it will still fit. You go much deeper than that, you guys might want to keep a hold of these adapters. But I have to tell you that the visit with this guy was tremendous. Very, very, very nice setup. They also had not only the 500, but they had last year's very forgiving, the G model. And the G model was a little bit smaller. Now, I've seen the G models before, and they were very, very clunky. Right? They had super wide soles on them, tons and tons of offset. What they did is they kind of took a little bit of that and kind of smashed it all together and had a forgiving head, but maybe not as big, maybe not as much offset in order to get through it. Now, what they also had is, let's see what this is. There you go. There's what we're talking about. This is the one that has a 4-piece badge in it in order to help with the flexing of the face. Now, what we talked about in drivers was, Ping has their own proprietary shafts. It's just the Alta model. That is proprietary to Ping. And we talked about the CB and for the counterbalancing because that was a very, very popular thing. And it's creating a 46-inch driver. I am not a fan of a 46-inch driver. but I don't own Ping, so that's just where we go. But they said they didn't, and I said, well, what was it before? They said 45 3/4, so they lengthened it 1/4 of an inch. They didn't see any changes in dispersion, and they were already cutting it off, so what's the big deal, right? And okay, so they made it that long. And what that does, it also helps with a little bit of swing weight because it is slightly counterbalanced. That's kind of the idea. So if we can get through there, we should be good to go. So again, real happy with the guys at Ping. I fully suspect that, and I told him, and you guys will see it. What'll happen is, Titleist pops up with their stuff early, that dies down. Then what happens is Callaway jumps into it and just takes over the universe and drivers, and then they kind of die down. Then comes TaylorMade. Everything they got is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Then they die down, and here comes Ping. And Ping is the last one to the table in order to say, oh, ours is the best. Normally, stuff like Cobra and Wilson, they don't get to play in that mix because they just never got considered. Well, now, and then when they do all the testing, it boils down to between the Ping LST and something from Callaway as who's going to blow out the other person as a whole. And I foresee that's probably going to do the same thing again. So we'll see what happens. All right, back to Makefield again. There we go. A more clear picture. This is their new one. It's called the Defiant. Now, stay with me on this one. When he told me when he started describing this, I about fell out. So here we go. There's the bottom of it. It's Defiant. I do really like this one. Okay. So what was happening was the guys at Makefield told me that a lot of, most of all their putters, all their putters are mallet-like, right? Mallet-like. And that they wanted something more blade-like. And if you can believe it, this is their answer. Okay? That is their answer to becoming a blade. Now, stay with me. Stay with me on this one. In order for this, Makefield makes their stand in the idea that they have these weight ports in the clubs in order to affect how the putter works, right? And all of them has had between, I'm going to say, 15 maybe weights, and there's these little bitty shot weights between aluminum, steel, and tungsten weights in order to affect the way the putter works. Well, in order for them to be able to still take advantage of that technology, they needed it to look like this. So if you look down on this and you look really, really close, right in the front, I don't know if you can see my mouse moving around on here, but if you look down on this thing, there's a rectangular set out shape that would be what the blade would be. And then what it is, it's a cutout or an addition to the back of it. And all this addition is to be able to hold the weight. All right. It's to be able to hold the weight. And yes, you can scoop up a ball with it because I did. And so what had happened? So in effect, I think what they designed is, I personally did not see the blade in it until they told me about it. But what they do have is a very forgiving putter that if you wanted a plumber's neck on it to where it forces your hands on the other side of the ball, you got one now. Okay. Now they have another one that's going to be released later. It's going to be more of a broomstick putter, and it's a huge version of that, and with lots more sight lines and the traditional broomstick where you have the handle piece and then the longer midsection so you can hold it and make it go back and forth. So that's what they had. Okay. Now I'm going to go I'm going to take one more trip to the library, and let's see if we can do this. And for some reason, what is all that? The PGA trip pictures are smaller than they once were. Let's see what this is. Nope. Let's see if it went into here. It did not. Okay. So that's not working out for me. What is that? I'll have to show you again. So we did find some folks that we did meet, some guys that were on here. Efren was on there. That was a great visit. There was a handful of folks that watched the channel, got to talk to, and I wanted to show you because we did take some pictures of them. Just never got around. Robin took them. I downloaded them, and for some reason I can't find them. So anyway, the last one is here. I am back in the Callaway one, and there's the elite part of it, right? You get to see the crown just underneath where my finger is at. You get to see the cup face on there going around, and you get to see the speed wave was what they're calling that thing in order to help get through it. All about speed. Pardon me. All about speed. All about keeping in the fairway, and that's all what's going on. Last but not least, got to see a bunch of the folks. However, I saw Star Grip. Remember I was telling you about, I thought there was a new Star Grip coming out? Well, there is. Got to see it, the STX. It's a very aggressive grip complex. It's nice. It runs a little bit big. Comes in about 4 colors. Do you have that with you? Is it over there in the bag? Toss it to me.
Well, I have to dig for it.
What do you mean? It's right there. So we'll see. Remember, you're going to be on camera.
No.
So anyway, I will dig this out. The other one that I did is one. It was mentioned the Newton shafts, right? Going over and checked out the Newton shafts, and I did. And I went and talked to a guy, and it was the vice president, and he says, "What do you know about Newton?" All I said is, "I know that they're purple." And he goes, "Oh, okay. We're going to start from the beginning."
It's in the Suburban.
It is.
That's what slid.
Oh, well, we'll have to show you tomorrow. And I got to talk to him about how they construct their stuff. It's made in St. Joseph, Missouri, so a Midwestern kind of thing. And the guys are, they've got a lot of success on the senior PGA tournament, their tour. They're talking about a what they called a log bend point. I'm not sure what that means just yet, but so for whoever asked me about Newton, when we get done here, we're going to send them an email, and we should get some shafts in the mail so we can do some so we can do some testing.
Thank you, John.
And we can go from there. All right, so that was pretty much the long and the short of it. And there was one more. PUR putt. Pure putt. Okay, and pure putt I thought was going to be a putter, but it turns out it's a putter training device. And their claim to fame is it's all of the putter training aids wrapped up into one. And it's a tubular frame that's probably 2.5 foot long, and it has a string that goes across the top with another string on the bottom so that you can get your eye alignment correctly, assuming you want it directly over the ball. And where you hit it, there's a chute with these 2 tees that are hanging, and there's smaller tees and there's thicker tees so that your gait can be more precise. And then the thing that really caught my attention was they have these pieces that are about 1 foot long, and they snap onto these rails, and they have this movable track. And that's where you can lay your putter on in order to do it. So it can be like this, where you could, for arcing, it could be straight back and straight forward. And it has one for each side of the rail. So even for maybe a junior golfer, or even for somebody that's trying to figure out what their track is, that you can kind of almost squish the putter in between these two and force it to run along those rails. And it forces you into making that particular path that you're looking to try to create. And there's also That's for a very, very straight putt. However, they've got little bitty bullseyes on there, and you can tilt it so that if you had to do a right to left breaking or left to right breaking, you can do that. If you're interested in something like that, that's what I would take a look at. All right, now we got it. Oh, I went back to Akron. We talked a little bit more about the shafts. I think what we talked about pretty much summed everything up, so we're good there. Let's go answer some questions. All the way to the top. All righty. Charlie says, I'm a star. Saw me on the PGA Show while watching the Golf Channel. Well, there you go. It's probably during the Makefield thing, I would imagine. Who knows? Look at that. So now we got to go back and try and figure out where that recording is just to see. Well, thanks, Charlie. See, it just goes to prove you I'm not pulling your leg. John Cherry says, and keep in mind, I believe he's in Myrtle Beach. Fellow golfers, 4 to 6 inches of snow in Myrtle Beach. Temps didn't get above a freezing. It'll be a few days until the golf course opens. Hoping you're having a good time. Well, John, all I can tell you is welcome to my world, brother. That's Ohio in a nutshell. Sorry, I know you guys aren't really prepared for a lot of snow. Just take it slow, bud. Don't worry about pressing anything out there, and let Mother Nature do its work for you, and it'll be gone in no time. Jesse says golf courses are open. Hell, I can't even get out of my golf course open. I can't get in my house here in Atlanta. Atlanta tends to get a lot of ice. Last time I looked, every time there was cold, or there normally was accompanied with freezing rain or something along that lines. And Charlie and Jess, here we go. In my cleaned up Crown Royal cup glass. This is, I got it over here. It's Bardstown Discovery Series number 10. So I ran into one of those. Krister says he had a demo fitting with TaylorMade scheduled today, but had to cancel it because he injured his fingers. What? Injured your fingers? By dropping a cast iron on his hand earlier. Have a hard time closing my hand without pain. Okay, well, number one, get better. That's always number one, get better. And then going forward, I don't need to tell you to stop dropping stuff on your hand. That's what Robin would tell me. After it was all said and done. Being able to look back and be able to tell me all the different things I could have done. Anyway, it's better until Saturday when I have a demo fitting with, hopefully it's better. Yeah, us too. Us too. Hello from Sweden Hole as well. Yeah, hopefully all is well for you, buddy. Here we go. Robin's in the investigative phase. We want to figure out where it's at. She's saying hello, hello, hello. All righty. Did you see Celebrity Tour Pros? Well, now that you mention it, now that you mention it, number one, I saw Boo Weekly. He was in the Callaway place. Talked to him, shook his hand, said thanks, and moved on. From an industry point of view, I got to see Chip Brewer, who's the head of Callaway. Also said Ed Mitchell from the Mitchell Loft and Line Machines. I saw him in passing. I didn't go to talk to him, although I have in the past. That was always fun to go see. And there was one more. Who was it? I don't know. Anyway, tomorrow, I told him I wanted to see. Oh, Mike Statura. Yeah, we saw Mike Statura Golf Digest. I've seen him a couple times in the last 2 days. Really, I want to get a hold of John McGinnis from the Sirius Radio. He's a big-time Makefield guy. And they're doing like this putt against the pro kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, I want a piece of that. Let's see what happens. And then we'll go from there. I couldn't tell you too many people were blocking the view. Okay. Mr. Three Putt, love the show. Love the content. Well, thank you. With this weather, does that mean Gene won't be in? Yeah, that'll happen a lot over here, Paul. It's kind of, the thing is, just like anywhere else you get south, because of the humidity, the cooler weather feels cooler. We were out in it, and when the wind's not blowing, it's not bad, but the wind's always blowing. So went from about 50 down into probably, we went to eat at Miller's Ale House. Definitely a thumbs up here in Orlando as far as I'm concerned. And when we got back out, it was noticeably cooler. It dropped easily 8 degrees, easily. And it's pretty chilly out there. All right, us in Tennessee are going to have a heat wave this weekend, 40 degrees. Let's say the courses are supposed to open. If they are, we will be there bundled up, of course. Steven, you are an absolute trooper if you're going to wear all that layers to get out there and go golfing. That sounds like Matt. Matt's one of those guys. I doubt he's made it out in the last couple of days in that minus. If he made it out in minus degree weather, there's no hope for him. There's just no. I don't know what the hell that man's thinking, but I'm sure he did not. Wow, and it was. Yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of not golfing here from about where you're at north. Charlie says, Robin, if you remember TV camera with the interview going on behind him, may give the clue to the booth and the rep. Yeah. I'm going to guess it was probably Makefield. Hi, Paul. Nope, not even going to the pool. Back, one of the pools is the building that's next to us is under construction. And it looks like they're doing a facelift to it. They got it all surrounded so it's not, stuff's not flying away. And it's like right next to the pool. So the pool is closed. And there's only one left over the side. Well, there's not a whole. We did kind of an experiment, and there's some good Wi-Fi there, but there's no plugins. So whereas by the building that separates the two, all kinds of plug-in and decent Wi-Fi. So it's the kind of lesser of two evils thing going on. But in 40-degree weather, yeah, there ain't nobody going in. But to the point, there was another pool out there by the main entry to this complex, and apparently it was heated because there was a fog or steam coming off of it. Now, I don't know about that, but that might get our attention. All righty. Unless it was above us, I didn't see any cameras. We'll have to go back and look around. There's Peter. What do you say, buddy? Been a bit. 4 inches of snow, and it's still with us. It'll be here through Friday. That's going to be like some kind of record, isn't it? They're talking like, this thing in Destin was some kind of, apocalyptic snow covering, of maybe a half of an inch. But, hey, they got some snow. And there's Advanced Dynamic Golf Center. That's Efren. Got to meet him. That was a lot of fun talking with him. And I believe it's Charles, his buddy. We were talking about that. He's a swing coach. This is a guy that once you see him, you'll never forget him. So it was fun talking with these guys. It was excellent catching up with you, man. If you need help, let me know. Steven again, is it me or is it new Callaway look a lot like a Tour Edge Exotic? Well, now that you mention it, of designs past, probably, yeah, I can't argue that. Yeah. All right. Hopefully it's better, though. Peter, hoping March 1st, hope it gets warmer. Well, we got a couple of months, so it better. That's Efren. Yes, it is. Hey, everyone, please hit that like button. So I didn't do it again. If you would, like and subscribe. Hit that stuff across the bottom. That way more of this stuff gets out to the YouTube universe. We're kind of hoping this takes off a little bit more so it can help us do the things that we want to do. All right, weather should be much warmer by then, I hope. No kidding. Robin, it may have been above you. Didn't seem that it was much. Anybody talking into it? Didn't see. Did you see anybody talking into a microphone? Well, I didn't, but there you go. Reddit wants to know if I got to see this $2,500 gold or the $1,200 gold ZXIO driver. No, we didn't. I know what you're talking about. I know it's there. In fact, I got a notice this morning about a tee. I wonder if it comes in, if I've got it still here. Let's see. This is Wednesday the 22nd. Things to know. Anyway, there was they said, come and look at this booth and find this $50,000 tee. All right. I'm like, why do I need a $50,000 tee? However, it's a solid gold tee with 8 or 9 diamonds in it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's never going to be used as a tee. Maybe somebody with a lot of extra spending money that likes golf makes it uses as a prop. But they got one. They got one, so that's pretty cool. Hey, Robin, this guy talking that was not wearing a jacket. It was there, if I recall correctly, Charlie, where they've got this at is on the far side of the putting, far side of their putting area. So it was probably that. And there he is again. Yep, it was Efren. And it was pretty, and she's pretty nosy. That's a fact. I thought she was saying it was pretty noisy, and it was there as well, but nosy's more appropriate. All righty. Yes, I would. All right, so great meeting you also. Yep. Yes, Ron, it was a very great meeting you both. Hope he didn't make you late for appointment. Nope, we're right there on time, and Srixon did have a lot of really cool stuff, so very cool. And Jesse Ross, which gets me mad is I'm 81. Is all that new driver only getting 3 to 5 yards longer than previous years? Come on now, is it worth buying a new driver? Well, you know what, Jesse, that is truly, honestly, that's truly the question, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth that 3 to 5 yards? Is that worth it 3 to 5 yards to buy a new driver? Is it really? Right? Some people will go, no. Now keep in mind this year they're talking about 8 yards. So in most golfers' consideration, that's almost an entire club length. So in some cases where you couldn't just carry that one water hole or ditch or sand trap or something, and now all of a sudden you can, that's going to change your score, and then maybe it is. Okay, maybe. That's a different animal, and that's different for each one, right? And like last year, if you asked me that is the Paradigm Smoke AI worth a change in driver from the Paradigm itself, now I would have told you no, particularly if you're hitting the Paradigm well. Why go through all that hassle? Unless they give you some sort of great trade-in and you can buy a new driver for $100 or $200, then yeah, maybe it is. But for full-on price, that's a hard pill to swallow. But if that's all you're looking for, if really that's all you're looking for is distance, and they're telling you 8 yards, and you go test it, it's really 8 yards, and all of a sudden you're still in the middle, that might be a worthwhile shot. But you got to go I'd say test it. Don't trust any of the marketing. Go hit it and make sure that you're actually getting out what they say you're going to get out of it. All righty. Yeah, that is crazy. I'd agree. Jesse, I don't think so. If you have a model from 2 to 5 years and carry that straight and long enough, it's just a treat. We will fall for it like babies. Truly. And Charlie wins the prize. Yep. Ping Zing or Ping i2. I was going for the i2 model. I just thought it was cool looking. I was like, man. And for those of you that aren't old enough to understand, that was probably to date still one of Ping's best iron designs. John says he uses driving iron as a 3-wood, and I use a Ping blonde driver, and it further straighter than all the techno drivers I have owned. Well, come to find out, so when we were doing the Acra demo day, the guy I was playing with pulled out a wooden, what would be equivalent to probably a 7 wood, but maybe even maybe even 8. But because it was a 27-degree driver, but because of the era that it was made in, it was considered something like a weak 5 or maybe even a 7. And he hit the snot out of that thing. It did everything he ever wanted it to do and then some. So it was pretty cool. Robin saying hi. There you go. My golfing buddy from my Navy's days has a set of Ping I2s. Of course, I recognize them. You bet. Okay. Small Raymond. No, Wilson hasn't been discussed only because they're not there. All right. They have chosen not to show up at the show this year or last year. And that is a business decision, much like TaylorMade. TaylorMade hasn't made it out there in even more years than Wilson has not. So not much to tell you. Although I have seen it, I will be impressed with their woods. Let's put it this way, I want to be impressed by their woods. Whether I will be impressed by their woods, that's a whole different animal. Okay. But that's everything's in the testing. So we are really going to be, it's really kind of funny between Newton Golf, Acra Shafts, Callaway, the new Wilson. We're going to test the Srixon. We tested all the Mizuno except for the Forge, and hopefully we get the Forge here coming soon. We have a lot to show you. So we should have no problem with content and talking about it over the next month or two, right? And it's just going to be so much fun to be able to measure and tweak and test and all kinds of stuff. Now, tomorrow, one of tomorrow's tests, again, to get us outside of our comfort zone, we're going to walk into Titleist and see what Titleist has to say, because Titleist is the second worst booth that I've ever attended because they're in their nice white sport coats, and it's a very, very sharp display, and getting anybody to talk to you is difficult. So we'll see how that one works tomorrow. All righty. No, Wilson has not been discussed yet. All right. Now we know. And there it is again. I wish Cobra would bring back the F9 and the F10. It would be a sellout. Well, some of these other ones that they got going on, they very well may be that. Now, I did find out that, yes, they are doing some 3D printing on some irons. It's on the internals. The internals of the iron. So, therefore, it must be some sort of hollow body kind of setup in order for them to build around it. Yes, I'm with you right on that one, Charlie. There you go, Jess. Way to save a little bit of money, buddy. Hope, but they'll probably make it up and charge you an extra $6 in shipping. Very good. All righty. Charlie's up there. Richie Jennings, what do you say? That ping wedge was, yes. Yes, it was I think that's just really cool. I mean, I think it has, even if with the old school look on it, that was a great wedge in the day with that, because they had the I2s had just this super huge offset that really forced people's hands forward. And in the sand, that's kind of what you're looking for, right? And so that was really nice. It was a good looking set. Did you see Dave Musty wooden putter display? Very cool wood designs. No, Musty putters, actually, I do like the Musty putters. There's just not a market for it around where I'm at. I do like what he's doing. I do think they're very cool looking. But I always thought they were in competition with Louisville's putters, and I'm a big Louisville fan, so I really never got engaged with him. But yeah, I do. But I do like what he's doing. Do I think it can work? Yes. Yeah. With anything with wood, you can move the weighting around by drilling a hole and put some lead in it and then covering it up with a sole plate. So there's a lot going on. All righty. He says, hi, Robin. Robin, about me and everything. There you go. 57 watching, 18 thumbs up. Yes, I agree, John. Thank you so very much. How about some thumbing that, hitting that like button? I'd appreciate it. On a minute. I'm having fun with them now, too. Yeah, we're having fun with this. This is what it's all about, right? Answering some questions, having a little bit of fun. All right, that's a real bummer if Wilson isn't there. I'm really excited for the new woods. I am too. To me, they were kind of in that same category as Srixon. Irons are always spectacular. The woods always needed some work, and they've been working on it ever since Harry got over there. And unfortunately, since Mr. Clark left, they've gotten into the adjustable area, and we did see some promise, right? In fact, I got a Wilson one in the bag with the Shogun in it, and it works really, really good. Okay, works really good. So if they can improve on that, more power to them, and I hope to see them doing well. Now, last year, if you guys remember any of the testing, they actually showed up in testing. They were about middle of the pack. They weren't killing the world, but they weren't losing to it either. About a middle of the road kind of club. The fact that they got mentioned was just a killer. So good on them. All right. I like the crank hosel on the Makefield. Did you putt with it? Yes, I did, and I got a video of it, but I have to convert it in P4 and then until it goes into here. I did. It was easy to track with that style of putter. It was very, very easy to track. In fact, I was putting and I was trying to make 3 out of 3 putts from about 6 or 8 feet, and I always made 2, and then I blew the other one by. And I just couldn't get that third one to go. And I was using that KBS white putter shaft. Now, the cool thing about this one is this opens up a lot of doors for me to modify, in that Acra has a couple of putter shafts that are in that heavy category with very, very little torque on them, and they're not crazy expensive. The other side of this also is I just learned that BGT lowered their putter shaft prices from that $300 range down to $99. So all of a sudden, these nicer putters like the Makefields and the other stuff are now you can upgrade them with these nicer zero torque shafts and get a real nice putter for not an outlandish price. So that's a pretty good idea. Everybody's trying to be lab. Makefield's not. That's kind of the funny part, is it has a look that is like maybe the Lab Mez Max, but they do not have the same balance. They are all about the way that they weight it so that you can putt well. They're big about center shafted, which is maybe where the confusion lies. But they started off as just a plain old center shafted putter, which the statistics would show us that a lot of center shaft putters don't sell in comparison. And I can show you where center shafts probably will work for a lot of people. They may not just have that cosmetic appearance that people have been used to. It's a traditionalist thing. Now enter lab, and the shaft mounts about, we'll say, an inch behind the face, which has never been done before, and now all of a sudden zero torque, and now they own that space for a while. Well, here comes PXG, here comes Callaway, here comes what was the other one? PXG, Callaway. Anyway, there's the third one. Now they're invading the space at a lower cost. Now, are they as good? That's yet to be determined. The Callaway ones I have putted with. The PXG I've only seen, but it does look cool. And this other one, is it Cobra? I just can't. No, I didn't see any there. We'll have to see. Anyway, they are now invading their space to take some of that, share of the market. So, but as far as Makefield trying to do it, not so much, Jesse. I can see where you could think about it from the look, but as far as the performance or the way it balances, no. But so that's a nice thing. Yes. There's Liz. Everybody feeling better at the house, at the homestead? That's my sister. She's been running about. She's got kids in high school, so as one would imagine, the crud has ran through their house. I just want to make sure everybody's okay. Hello, hello. Not down where we're at. Actually, it's dry. It was raining when we woke up this morning, and it wasn't raining. It wasn't 100% dry, but it was much better. We expect the next 2 days to be drier, and but I don't expect it to be any warmer. So there's the problem. Charlie, I may be able to pick out the photo of him when I saw him at the Golf Channel. Well, let's see what happens.
I tried already.
All right. Are you guys hitting Universal Studios or anything while in town? No. We normally don't get the time for that. This is an all-day affair. This is like work. Okay, we get it going. The thing here, we're at the Rosen at Orlando Point. We've been doing this for right at 20 years now. And in the morning, it's like a routine. In the morning, we go over to the main hall area, and they've got a breakfast buffet set up. And Robin gets what tickles her fancy, and I get what tickles mine. And so the last 2 days has been eggs and sausage and bacon and a piece of French toast and a hot tea and some honey, and away we go. And that takes us basically until about midday. We get something to drink, and we get going again. And then about 3:30, we start walking out, go get something to eat, and then we set up for this. And we normally bring a dessert home with us, and then it's set up for this and get her done, and then rinse and repeat. Tomorrow we know there's some happy hours out there, so we might have a change in plans. So we'll see what happens. Just cold. Charlie would be great. I've been looking online. Can't locate anything. Okay. Peter, you put Newton shafts in your driver and you're 5 and 3. You're going to the Shoguns. Did we talk you out of it, or did you just pick them out and you liked them? Did they load? The question is that he talked about how they load and unload. And I know your swing. How did it feel to you? And what'd you think? Would you do it again? There's the question. Sorry, no, all business. We visited cousins before. They're the same thing. Okay, cool. Really, is weather an issue? This year sucks. Wanted to try stuff, I'm sure. Yes, it is. John says, thanks for checking out Newton. No problem. So the other part, John, that I didn't tell you was that this Newton group started off as a putter company called Anti-Gravity. And what they did is they put in these very, very lightweight shafts. And this is how Newton got started. Lightweight shafts and lightweight grips so that the putter itself would be a light total weight. However, it would have a high swing weight where the center of gravity or the balance point was just above the hosel. New way again to the same spot. It's very interesting. And because they were starting to take off, and here comes COVID, and they didn't have anybody in the Pacific Rim to make their shafts, so they decided to do it on their own, and hence here comes Newton. I wouldn't want to be at Disney today. No, I wouldn't either. No, we've been to Disney when it's rained. Oh my gosh. And in the summertime, Florida and rain is a temporary thing, right? It'll rain for 15 minutes. You'll get soaked, and then out comes the sun. It becomes 80, 90 degrees again, and 1,000% humidity. You get dried off, and you just take off and you do it again. We lived that for a year while we were down here. Brooke Henderson. Now, she would have been fun to go see. And she was at the Henderson. I think we met her. We met her. She just happened to be in a booth a couple years back, and we got to talk to her. I liked her. She was straight up forward kind of gal. It's 8 degrees there. Yahoo! Low tonight, forecast of 5. Gee, Merry Christmas. Golf Ag says, good to see you. Cheers. How was the day? It was very good. We both Robin and I got down. We sat down at our dinner and we went, wow, getting out's going to be a problem because we basically stood from basically walking at about 8 o'clock in the morning all the way until 4 or 5, and just never got to stopping. We did get to talk to a guy. We did go outside to go get a pop, and Robin got a coffee, I got a pop, and we talked to a guy from Blue Tees who was their project development guy, and I was just trying to, if you could make something that would stop me from losing those damn things, that would be absolutely fantastic. And he just laughed. He says, well, I'm kind of glad that you did lose a few because that helps us out. Good-natured guy, super nice fella, but got to talk to him again. So, yeah. There you go. Charles, talking Brooke Henderson and having those temperatures, that makes me an honorary Canadian, brother. Welcome. Or makes you an honorary Canadian. Welcome aboard. There we go. Why, thank you. When I was in the Navy, I got to visit Canada a few times. Esquimalt was one of the places. I don't even know if I said that right. Damn right. Damn right. Vulcan, Canada. That's something to go look at. You're welcome, Charles. I lived on the East Coast. East Coast side of the country in New Brunswick. All right. Well, you're not too far away because he's in New England. That's a fact. All right. We love our American neighbors too. Well, there we go. Golf Addict. There we go. How are you? Charles, I have been a Patriots fan all my life. Well, there we go. All right. Does PXG? No. As a matter of fact, they've never been here. As I recall, the very first time that they were out. Now, this was during the evolution of it was a $2,000 or $3,000 set of irons, that kind of thing. Back in the very first one, when they were first out onto the market. They got asked that question, why are you not at the PGA Show? And he said, and I quote, well, we'll paraphrase, that does a Lamborghini go to the U.S. car show? And that's how he was building and promoting them in the day, and so that's what he gets. All right, tell them at the white coat booth if they do not give you a respectful greeting, I will drop their ball from my golf bag. And no doubt what I'm going to try and do is see if I can get a sleeve of golf balls from them and see what we're doing, see what that's all about. But hopefully we have a so far so good, Jesse. We've had some, I will say, better luck. So hopefully they're there. He says, I like the thumbs up too. You like thumbs up. Everybody do that if you don't mind. And it's too cold in the weather in the West Coast. It's 45 degrees. Well, at least that means the snow's melting as opposed to hanging around. And Robin saying, thanks. Are we going to the concert tomorrow night? I don't know. Are we going to the concert tomorrow night?
I said if we could stay awake long.
Robin says if we can stay awake long enough, Efren. Third Eye Blind would be kind of fun to go watch. We'll see. It's just one of those we'll sees. And there you go. Minus 15 up in Canada. Woo! Oh, it's a warm -4. It jumped up a little bit on him. You guys, the heat wave up there. All right. Let's see. John Lamb got a video from a bud up in the Panhandle. Was snowing like crazy. His grandkids are out having a snowball fight. Yeah. I remember, back in, I think it was probably in the 70s, we had cousins down here in Tampa, and it snowed in Tampa. And they actually called us to figure out how to do snowballs because it was literally the first time they'd ever seen snow. They didn't know what to do. And then whether or not, and I know for a fact that these guys were nuttier than a fruitcake. They went and probably made a dozen snowballs and put them in their refrigerator or in their freezer. He's in Vulcan, Alberta, Canada. There we go. P-Funk Chang. I'd be bent if I spent $300 on a putter shaft and it was a third of the price a few months later. Yeah, that'd be reasonable. Hi all, hope your Wednesday was great. It was. We had a lot of fun. There we go. Even Roll is not here either. They've had booths here in the past. I just got an email from them. They do have a new release. I guess it's a new putter model. But it was as we were going out the door, and I said, I'll catch you later, and I still haven't had a chance to do it. Even Roll was the putter company you're thinking about. Oh, okay. Maybe that was them. I wouldn't doubt it. Even Roll could probably pull that off. Hope to be on my home course by the end of March or sooner. There we go. All right. Think Even Roll putters started out as Rife putters, the guy from Rife is part of them. Deep milled face had massively deep grooves. Yep. He's like, okay, so here we go. Peter, here's the nod for Newton shafts. He's been playing Newton shafts for about a year. He likes them. I recommend them to my friends. And if they release a hybrid shaft, I will put it into my 3 and 4 5 hybrid. Well, there you go. Okay. Oh, John Lamb says, hi, Robin. Hope Florida's treating you well, and you guys have found some great seafood places to eat, maybe on a patio on the beach to watch the sunset. Yeah, not. We ate at Maggiano's yesterday. That's always one of those must stops around here. That's just great Italian food. Today was Miller's, so tomorrow's open. We have to, if it's not too windy or something along that lines, we also have a putter championship of the universe we have to contend with. That's always another thing that we always do here. We go to the local Pirates Cove or whatever local putter mountain, and we run around and try and get 18 in real quick. Today we thought about doing it, and we do all be all bundled up and try it out and take pictures, and we thought it would be fun. And Robin made an excuse that she didn't want to go, so we didn't go. No. Yes, I am.
I had 2 coats.
Yep, she had 2 coats. So anyway, I'm sure we'll get there. All right, it was a record snow here, not since '89. There you go. Peter's got the shotgun. Let's see which one he likes. That'll be neat to hear. All indoors, too cold for us outside. Good for sure. Yep. 45 sounds balmy. You know what? In comparison, it is. But down here, it's still kind of feeling cold. We go to the new innovation section. Yes, we will. That's one of the places I like going, Peter. The new innovations or even the new products. It depends on who's sitting out in front. Normally, I can take my camera in. Sometimes I cannot. But I do want to. It's funny. I can't take my camera in. But if I go and I use my phone and I snap, that's fine. I don't know what the difference is. I think it's just the directive that some of these people have been given in order to do this. So we'll see what this one does. I don't believe it's going to be a problem. And 25 degrees for American bugs and calorie 25. Well, there you go. At least it's warmer up there than it is down here. All righty. So there we are, guys. We got down to the bottom. We talked for literally an hour and a half again. Thank you guys for showing up, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. I would appreciate it greatly. And watch for us tomorrow. Pardon me. Watch for us tomorrow. We certainly will send out that note again, whether it's 7 or maybe earlier or even later, depending on how we are getting around the area, because the thing doesn't close down until 4 or 5, and we just left early because we just were running out of steam. But as always, guys, thank you much, and always let's see your scores. Go low.